Hi there, Jeff Kamke with Life Enhancement Association. I want to share with you the collarbone breathing technique. Now, this is a technique that's very simple to employ, but very powerful as well. And it's a technique that I teach most of my clients to be able to reduce their stress and get their thinking straight. There's a lot of the ways that I recommend using this technique. And if you've read any of my blog posts or are on my email list, you've probably seen some of the other ways I suggest using that. So let me go over what the technique is. It was developed by Dr. Roger Callahan. He was a psychologist, and in a quest to get better results, he used the principles of acupuncture and acupressure along with a lot of psychological techniques and developed this technique called thought field therapy. And collarbone breathing, the technique that I'm going to show you here in a minute, comes from thought field therapy. It's one of the direct major ways that he found to correct what he calls psychological reversal, which is essentially self-sabotage. And it's a way to get the thinking straight and reduce stress with your body. So let's go over the technique. There's two elements of the technique. There's a breathing procedure and there's a tapping procedure. So the breathing procedure is very simple. It starts with a full breath in and holding that breath for a minute or for a second or two. And then exhaling half the breath out, holding it out for just a second. Exhaling the rest of the breath out and holding it for a second, and then breathing half a breath back in and holding it for a second, and then relaxing. So that's the breathing pattern. It's very simple. And that breathing pattern is going to be repeated 8 different times, and the breathing pattern each time is going to be accompanied with a specific tapping procedure. So to learn the tapping procedure, let's show you a couple points that you need to learn. The first one is on the top of the hand. There's the ligament for the ring and the pinky finger here. And there's a soft spot in between, and that is what we call the gamut spot, G-A-M-U-T. And it's that spot that you're going to begin tapping on while you're doing the collarbone breathing procedure. And the tapping is a light tapping, like you're tapping somebody on the shoulder to get their attention. Just a very light tapping on that gamut spot. Now the other points you need to learn are what we call the collarbone points. And the collarbone points aren't directly up here on the collarbone. They're actually a little bit below. So to identify the collarbone points, there's a little lip here at the top of your collarbone. It's in the shape of a U. If you can locate that and go down approximately 1 inch, and then left of that point 1 inch, and right of that point 1 inch. So just down from the collarbone, kind of on the ribs, and about 2 inches apart. These are the 2 points that you need to learn, where they're at least, and we're going to be using both these points during the collarbone breathing procedure. So let me start. I'll show you 1/8 of the procedure, and then we'll just add it all together and we'll run through the entire treatment so you have it, so you can learn it and begin applying it in your life so you can reap the rewards and the benefits from it. So let's start by holding the right collarbone point with the left hand, and with the right hand we will tap the gamut spot, which is again between the ligaments of the pinky and the ring finger, the fleshy space in between about halfway up the palm. Just tapping there lightly. And this is where you would begin the breathing procedure. So you take a full breath in and hold. You let half of it out and hold. Exhale all the way out and hold. And breathe half a breath back in and hold it. And you relax and breathe normal and quit the tapping. So that's 1/8 of the treatment. So let's put this all together and I'll show you how it goes. The other 8 or the other 7 of the 8 tapping is we started with the right point and then we go to the left. We do the tapping, do the breathing procedure while we're tapping, and then we go back to the right side, but instead of holding that point with the pad of our finger, we're going to wrap our fingers over our thumb, so the knuckles are what now holds the right collarbone point, and you're going to begin tapping again with the left hand, or with the right hand, excuse me, on the left gamut spot while you do the breathing procedure. And then once you do that, you'd go with the knuckles over to the left collarbone point. Begin with the right hand tapping the left gamut spot, do the breathing procedure, and now you're halfway done. So now we're going to switch hands. So now the right collarbone point, hold that with the pads of your right hand, of the fingers of the right hand, and with the left hand tap the gamut spot of the right hand and do the breathing procedure. And then you go over to the left collarbone point, tap, do the breathing procedure. And then again, wrapping the fingers over the thumb and the knuckles touching the right collarbone point with the left hand touching and tapping the gamut spot, doing the breathing procedure. And then you go for the knuckles over to the left collarbone point, doing the tapping on the gamut spot with your left hand, doing the breathing procedure. and then you'd be done. And that's the full treatment. So now that you understand the two components, the breathing and the tapping, you know where the points are, and you get the idea of how we're going to be switching back and forth. Let's put it all together now and go through the full treatment here in real time. You can follow along so you can learn it and start getting the benefits from it. So let's start with the left hand, the pads of the left hand of the fingers touching the right collarbone point. The right hand is going to touch and begin tapping the left hand at the gamut spot. You're going to take a full breath in and hold. Let half of it out and hold. Exhale completely out and hold it. Remember to keep tapping. And then now breathe in a half a breath and hold that for a second. And now take the left hand over to the left collarbone point and then tap the gamut spot again. Full breath in and hold. Exhale half of the breath out and hold it. And now breathe all the way out and hold it. Then take a half of a breath back in and hold it again. And then you can relax. Now take the fingers of your left hand, wrap it over your thumb, go back to the right collarbone point. With the right hand, begin tapping the gamut spot on the top of the left hand. And taking a full breath in, you're going to hold. You're going to exhale half the breath out and hold. You're going to exhale completely all the way out and hold. And then take a half of a breath back in and hold it. And now with the left hand going over to the left collarbone point, tapping with the right hand on the left gamut spot, take a full breath in and hold. And let half of it out and hold. Exhale completely and hold it out for just a second. And then take half a breath back in and hold it for a second. And now you can relax your breathing and quit tapping. So now we're going to switch hands. So now the right hand on the right collarbone point with the pads of the fingers. The left hand is now going to begin tapping the gamut spot on top of the right hand. So begin tapping, take a full breath in and hold. Exhale half the breath out and hold it. Exhale the rest of the breath out and hold. And now take a half of a breath back in and hold. Remember to continue tapping. And now take the right hand over to the left collarbone point with the pads of the fingers touching. Now tapping with the left hand on top of the right gamut spot. Take a full breath in and hold. Let half of it out and hold. Let all the breath out and hold. Half of a breath back in and hold. And now wrap those right fingers over the right thumb and go back to the right collarbone point, and with the left hand tap again the gamut spot. Full breath in and hold. Exhale half of that out and hold it. Now breathe completely all the way out and hold it. And inhale half a breath again and hold it for just a second. And now take the right hand over to the left collarbone point. Continue tapping the gamut spot, taking a full breath in and hold. Exhale half a breath and hold it. Exhale the rest of your breath out and hold it. And now take a half of a breath back in and hold it. And there, that's the full complete collarbone breathing treatment. Now after doing this, you'll probably notice that you're calmer, your stress is lower, your energy levels may come up. You also might get a little more tired because now that your stress is lower, your body can kind of relax, and that may just need a short nap to reboot, to recharge. So depending on what you'll notice, you'll know what to do. And once you have done this a few times and you get comfortable with the breathing and the tapping and the switching back and forth, a good way to use this moving forward is to recognize the specific stresses that you're under. And while you're doing the different tapping and the breathing, be thinking about consciously what the stress is. So it's kind of like in the olden days where you had the projector and you put a slide in, it would project it up on the wall. So when you think about a stress, it's like engaging that with your mind, and it brings it up. And while it's brought up in your conscious mind and you're doing this tapping procedure, it will help eliminate the stress associated with that specific thought that you're having. So that's a great way to use this moving forward. So let me know if you have any questions. You can email me, lifeenhancementassociation@gmail.com. Leave a comment below. I'd love to figure out if you need any more help, or I'd love to hear how you're succeeding with this technique, because it's benefited my life in a lot of ways to reduce stress and really help correct negative thinking, getting out of my own way and eliminating procrastination. I've used this a variety of ways in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been a tremendous tool. So I hope it is really well for you, works really well for you, and you get a lot of benefit from it. Let me know how you're doing, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.